It's one of the oldest businesses in the textile manufacturing sector. This week, we speak to Tejal Dodhia from Thika Cloth Mills on building resilience in the textile manufacturing industry. My name is Claire Munde, and this is She Means Business. Hi, Tejal.
Hi.
Welcome to She Means Business.
Thank you.
So today we just want to have a conversation around Buy Kenya, Build Kenya. So you've been at Thika Cloth Mills and you've been there from 1958. The company has been there. So we want to understand how to stay competitive, how to make gains in this industry. And I think a good place to start is, whenever we talk about Buy Kenya, Build Kenya, there are people who say, yes, we want to support, we want the country to develop, but sometimes the products are seemingly more expensive than some things that come from, fast fashion or so on and so forth. So when you talk about Buy Kenya, Build Kenya, how do you remain competitive in that industry?
Firstly, I think when we say we're expensive, personally, I don't believe we're expensive. I think it's because what is coming from outside is very cheap, and that's because it's second-hand. So it's something which has already been used, or something which has maybe been in a factory. They've given the best quality to the US or to the UK or wherever, and then they've got a rejected produce. That rejected produce is put in bales and brought over to Africa, which is making the textile industry a little bit looking like it's uncompetitive. It's because these things are being brought in very cheaply, whether it's from China. If you go to Isli, they say Isli is mainly the rejects of all the Chinese factories. The second quality, the third quality, so they put them in bales and then they send them to Africa. So what we are comparing the pricing with is maybe not the first quality. When you're looking at textiles, I sell my suiting textile, let's say 315 shillings a meter or 355 shillings a meter. If I were to get it from India and pay the 25% duty, the IDF, the IDL, all the taxes, then that product would be landing here at 315 shillings. Yet that same product is sold at 280 shillings here in Kenya. So when we are supposed to be paying the duties of about 8 million, actually we're paying duties of 2.5 million per container, which is distorting it for us as local manufacturers. We're selling at 355. The imported, all taxes paid, should be landing at 315. But still you'll say, how come they can send it all the way here plus add the taxes and still they're at 315 and we are at 350? So your question is quite valid. I would say the reason why we are expensive is because we used to do a lot of mass production in Africa for the textiles. Today, only 3 factories are doing it, So when you have a factory like in China, they're making a wide range of produce, and each factory is making its own speciality. So for example, a factory in doing shirting will do only shirting. A factory doing suiting will do only suiting. Whilst us at Thika Cloth Mills, we do everything. We do the suiting, we do the shirting, we do the curtains, we do the bed sheets, we do a little bit of everything. And we talk of Buy Kenya, Build Kenya to say whoever wants any of these textiles can come to Thika Cloth Mills and buy from us. So automatically our efficiencies drop because we are always changing what our machines are making. We're not sticking to one product, one produce. We're not doing the mass production the way it's normally done in China or India or Pakistan, etc. So I don't know whether we are really expensive. I don't think we are that expensive. I think it's unfortunate the way the textile industry went over the last so many years, where we just allowed the market to be so flooded with second-hand and substandard products and dumping. And when people don't like it when I talk like this, but it's the truth, and we can't stop it also. We went to Rwanda and we talked, the PS was saying, we don't want mitumba in Rwanda, and in Kenya you should do the same. And our ministry was with us. That was in 2016, and I was there, and we said in Kenya we cannot stop it, because if you stop it, our people will not have clothes to wear. But it's a catch-22 situation because we have a factory in Eldoret called Rivertex. It's not running. How can it run when it has to compete with such cheap imports? It's 4 times the size of Thika Cloth Mills, you know. So it needs a market. Okay, then we talk about the US market, AGOA market, the UK market, the EU market. So they're given us opportunity where we are able to export at lower tariffs than they're charging other countries. But the truth be told, we are competing with giants like India, China, Pakistan that have so many factories, so many products that run. If I need a spare part for one of my machines in Thika, I have to order it from abroad. I have to wait for it to come before my machine can restart. If I was in India, I would just probably go across the road and to the spare part manufacturer and say, I need this. In an hour, I'll get it, and my machine is already fixed. These are the small disadvantages we have. The dyes, the chemicals are not made locally, so we have to import those items. So now you're wearing a beautiful pink jacket, and I need to match that pink color. If I don't have that shade in my dyes, or it got finished because I got a big order of your pink and now it's finished, I have to wait for that dye to come across the sea before I'm able to dye the next lot. So some of it's not so much the money that we're not competitive. It's also because we're not completely self-reliant, not 100% self-reliant, you know. And that's why I say buy Kenya, build Kenya, because we want to be as much as possible self-reliant, because the more self-reliant we are, the less we depend on others, the stronger we become. You know, even to talk about why is Africa a dumping ground, why don't we have the strength to talk about it? It's because we are not self-reliant, you know. Someone will just shut you down and say, Tejal, stop talking. Have you seen the amount of mitumbas which are being sold? And look at you, one little factory there, talking so loudly, you know. But I look at myself as a small boat in a big sea, and if I don't raise my voice, I'll definitely drown, you know. So it's okay. I'm saying what I'm saying, but I think it's, there are no easy solutions for us. But the Buy Kenya, Build Kenya has been a solution for Thika Cloth Mills. Today we are running fully. Our factory is running 100%, which I haven't seen for a very long time. We've done good investments, both in the solar to make us more competitive because our power costs are high. We've reduced our power costs by about 25% in the last 3 years. We've improved our boilers, our steam boilers run on coffee husks, macadamia shells, cashew nut shells, which is much cheaper than running them on oil, for example. So these are the kind of things that we have done to make the business more sustainable. We have gone down to the cotton farmers and told them to grow the cotton, so that now we have a local supply of cotton. And there's such a thrill in that, and not just a thrill, there's such a joy in that, because you're lifting people, they're lifting you, you're lifting them, and we're all pushing together for our country to make it better every day. And the people I've met when I've gone to the ground, especially in the CECs, Ministry of Agriculture in the counties, wow, they have so much spirit on Buy Kenya, Build Kenya, and they want it so much. Sometimes I feel like they want it even more than me, you know, and that spirit also makes my spirit feel, no matter how hard it is, this is the way we need to go. Either you keep your money in your country and you empower your people and you move together, or you send it to another country and we leave our ground empty. For us, the path we have chosen, and not me alone, those farmers also, the people who are working for this every day, all of us have chosen this path. We want to develop our country first. Everything else comes second.
Okay, very interesting. And I like the points you've put out at how you're trying to really be sustainable and be competitive. So the solar and other solutions there. But as you said, sometimes it's not so much about the price, it's about the quality. So you're saying the things that are coming in sometimes are not the first quality and so on and so forth. And it still remains a problem because at the end of the day, as you said, if you cut out Mtumba, there's a whole sector of people who will be left out without clothes that they can afford to buy. So I'd like us to talk about then how you keep on pushing forward, because as you said, there are places like Rivertex that are not, that need to run. But then there are so many challenges. There are so many things that are really coming into play. So,
and the competition with Pakistan, India, China, with the international markets.
Exactly. So being here from 1958. And this is actually a family business, so maybe you can give me some context to that, how it started and how it has evolved over the years, and how you've been able to maintain, even with the liberalization, even with the challenges, how you're able to continue working. Because sometimes people do the math and they're like, oh my goodness, these challenges, does this business make sense? So what has that been like for you running the family business through the decades?
For me, definitely the textile industry, the margins are very, very thin. So when people look for money, this is not the industry to be in, unfortunately, But for me, from where I was born, it wasn't about the money. It was about empowering people. It's about when I saw the factories fall, headline after headline, Mountex, Kikomi, Rivertex, Thika Cloth Mills, struggling, laid off so many people. In Thika itself, we had UTI, we had Bupco, we had Kifaru, we had KTM. And one by one, these factories fell. And I read every single headline. And nobody could do anything about it. We just had to accept the job losses. The farmers were up in arms. Homa Bay, I remember farmers crying they hadn't been paid. And for me, I was 21, 22. That's a Gen Z age, you know? And you're idealistic at that age, and you expect things to be not this way, you know, and you think that, no, this is not, in my eyes, the way the world should be moving or going. And we had a strike also at Thika Cloth Mills, where the workers were out, and my father said, let's go to Thika, so we went, and I'd never seen workers outside like that. Mainly, they used to always be on the job. And I said, oh, what's going on? And then my father hadn't paid the wages that month. And they said, we haven't been paid. So he told them, I know you haven't been paid. And they said, so what's going to happen now? You know, and he said, look, told them the textile industry is finished. There's really, I'm not able to see the light, you know. I'm telling, go and look for something better to do. You can go that way and look for something better to do. And that's my advice. Or just go back inside, just continue to work. I'm looking to find the solutions, you know. And every worker went back inside the factory. To me, I said, what injustice is this, you know. And I decided on that day that I have to fight for it. And my father told me, don't talk. If you want to run this factory, don't talk. Go and look for your orders where you can find them and try and keep the factory moving. So for many years, I didn't talk until he passed away in 2011. And then I decided, no, it has no hope left if I don't talk, you know. So that's the time I went to see, I went to KAM, Kenya Association of Manufacturers. They were very welcoming. And they gave me a meeting with President Ruto and with late Raila Odinga. He was the Prime Minister at the time, and President Ruto was the Minister of Agriculture at the time. And I said, we have this factory, and we're about to close it, but it has so many workers, and it has some farmers still growing cotton, and we want you to do something about it. We want you to push Buy Kenya, Build Kenya. At the same time, I talked to my mother and my sisters, and I said to them, let's not close it. Because if we close it, where are all these people going to go? And my sisters felt exactly the same way I feel. And they said, no, let's try. We can go this direction. So we decided not to close it. But the machines were getting older and older, and there was no new investment. There was no opportunity. The light wasn't quite there. You know, where are we really heading with this? You know? Then in 2016, actually in 2012, the CS of industry, at the time was Aden Mohammed, came to the factory, and he came with some cameras, and they took a video of the whole factory. Then and he told me, do you mind? I said no. He told me, can you lay out for me the processes, what needs to be done in Thika to make this textile? So one by one, we went through everything. What is the opportunity if we decided to make our textile industry alive again? So the kind of jobs we would be able to create along the value chain from cotton, textile manufacturing, and then garment manufacturing. We talked about the figures. They looked so amazing. On paper, everything looked so beautiful, you know. Then I didn't hear from them for quite a while. And then in 2016, I got a call saying, come on, let's go to Rivertex. So I said, what? They said, come on, let's go to Rivertex. So we went to Rivertex, and they took me around this factory, and I started to cry. I said, what have you done? I said, I didn't tell you to build an elephant. I just told you to buy Kenya, build Kenya. And they said, don't cry. It's for all of us. It's for the farmer. The farmers were there at the meeting. It's for all of us. The Ministry of Industry was there. We are going to fight for our textile industry. So I said, okay, fine. So that's okay. And then Uhuru went to Rivertex. They talked of buy Kenya, build Kenya at Rivertex. And the CSs came to, and the PSs came to Thika. Dr. Chandaria was also there. Although he's old, he came all the way to Thika to give us the support. He's my uncle. They all said, let's buy Kenya, build Kenya. Then the policy was taken out on buy Kenya, build Kenya. And then we had these wonderful people from KDF, Kenya Police, come around the factory, see what we were doing. They told us, we want to buy Kenya, build Kenya. You have to fill in some tenders when you want to get these orders. This is the kind of material we require. And they started with the police blue, with PS Kibicho coming, and the DG of NYS coming, because they were going to stitch the uniforms at NYS. And they came around the factory. They came to Rivertex, they came to Thika, they came to Sunflag, they went to Bedi in Nakuru. And when they went around these factories, they said, we have capability to do it locally. Giving us that encouragement, we started now dealing with the government. Prior to that, we were only dealing with the school manufacturers in this country, uniforms. We were big in uniforms. And even the army, the police, they also need uniforms. So Thika Cloth Mills was specializing in this line quite a lot. We were already supplying KK guards. We were already supplying Seneca. We were already supplying some of the big institutions in this country. So we started the journey, and today I can say most of the textiles, uniforms made in this country are made from locally made textiles, whether it's Rivertex, Thika, Sunflag or Bedi. We are all making it, and we are all manufacturing here locally. And with that, we then went down back to the ground. We had a lot of boardroom fights at KAM, where the fashion market wanted to import the textiles, also understandably, because it's very competitive. The EPZs want to import the textiles. And we were saying, buy Kenya, build Kenya. So we were not really aligned. And one or two people even said, why are we doing this for this one factory or these two factories? And when they said that, I actually lost my confidence. And I'd suddenly seen cotton is suddenly coming from Homa Bay and Siaya. For years, it hadn't come from those areas. It was still coming from Pekatoni. It was still coming from the coastal areas, the eastern, Kitui, Makueni. But it was not coming from western. But suddenly, it had started coming. So I said to media people like you, a guy called Kilango and Rose from Kameme, can we go to the ground? Will you come with me? They said yes. We went with these cameras that we are having here. And we went to the ground together, and we met the farmers one-on-one and said, if we were not to do this, why can't you grow something else instead, And there was a young farmer in Siaya, and he told me, no. Look, I do maize, then I do my cotton, and then I do my maize. I have at least 4 acres of land, and this is how I do it. And this money which I get from the cotton, it takes my children to school. So, Madam Tejal, go back and tell them we have to buy Kenya, build Kenya. I met the CEC in Homa Bay. He was a man with really spiky hair and quite old. And he said to me, come on, let's go. He took me to his house that he had built in Homa Bay. And around his house, he had pawpaw, mangoes, cotton, all different crops that the farmers could grow. And with the money that they make from selling these different crops, the different things that they grew, he said with this money they can buy they can build a lovely house. And with this house, they can now send their children to school, and we want to build our country. So I said, okay. And he was so passionate, and he said, go back and tell them, let's buy Kenya, build Kenya. And he gave me a lot of compassion. In Siaya, I met a man and he had all these kind of trophies in his office. And I said to him, he said, these are all for you. I said, oh, really? Yeah, thank you. What are they for? You know, and he said, do you remember me? I said, no. We met a long time ago. I said, where? At the Cotton Authority Board. I said, oh, you know, Cotton Authority Board is dissolved now. And he said, all these trophies are for you because you're buying all the cotton from this area. And this is for this seed, and this is for this seed, and this is for... So they had been doing trials on different seeds on the ground. Ultimately, in 2021, they approved the BT seed to be used for cotton farming. So the farmers now would have access to the BT seed, which now tripled their yields that they were getting from the conventional seed which they were being given. So we now moved from 2016 to 2021, where now the farmers were getting a better seed, only that it was an expensive seed. Also, this year, last year, we didn't have money to buy the seed, to be honest, because it's 4,000 shillings per acre for a farmer to buy that seed, or for Thika Cloth Mills to buy that seed and give it to the farmer. So what President Ruto did, which was amazing, was he said, he got the seed from Cameroon and from Chad, brought the seed into Kenya, huge quantities of seed. So every farmer, it's not that, oh, BT is only 7,000 kilos, so only 7,000 or 4,500 farmers can take the seed and grow the cotton. It was now ample, so that we could multiply the number of farmers that wanted to grow cotton, and it was given by the government free of cost to the farmers. Only thing is, we were not all 100% sure how it would perform on the ground. But I know in Siaya they had done all those tests. Now that it's coming back to me that they had done all these tests, so maybe they had a good idea the seed was not a bad seed. So this is the seed we have given to the farmers this year, and we've pushed the farmers up to small scale, so having 1 acre of land, 1 acre of land. These farmers have now been put in cooperatives, and we went down to the ground with the PS of cooperatives, PS of agriculture, PS of investments, and PS of industry, and Rivertex, and Thika Cloth Mills. Together, we went to the ground and we gave the seed to all the farmers, and we told them to go grow the cotton. We are coming back to buy the cotton. We also decided that Thika Cloth Mills would concentrate on the coast, and Rivertex will concentrate in Western Kenya. But Rivertex has been through a lot of rough time. So anyway, we're still managing. They're managing how they can. We're also managing how we can. And no farmer, there is a little bit of a glut right now, but KDC is releasing some money to the farmers next week. So that glut will be finished. Every farmer will be paid and they will be happy. They also pushed the price. At Thika Cloth Mills, we were paying 52 shillings to the farmer, giving the BT seed, going back and paying 52 shillings. Now the government gave the seed, and the farmer, we are told to now buy at 72. I did my calculations and I saw I'm making zero profit in cotton. It's exactly what I am spending is exactly, it's almost like the God told me, you're not supposed to make money on this side. I really felt that message saying, okay, at least to make 2 shillings a kilo or 5 shillings a kilo or make something from the seed, but it's okay. Because at the end of the day, cotton prices right now internationally are down all over the world. Markets, textile market all over the world right now is down. So when things are good, we'll all be good. So it's a, but in the long run, we have now got our source of cotton. Locally, we'll not have to look outside anywhere. We have our farmers, they're very happy. We love them too, because without them, we have to go to Uganda or Tanzania to buy that cotton. So it is all working. And they've organized themselves in cooperatives. The farmers have organized. We are working with about 8, only Thika Cloth Mills alone. Kitui is working with others. Makweni is working with others. Salawa, which is in Baringo, Rift Valley Products is working with many cooperatives in Homa Bay. So people have taken different areas, and in Baringo, in all that Salawa area, the farmers have organized themselves in cooperatives. They're strengthening year on year. The cooperatives, corporate governance is also, they have the training on that happening year on year to make sure that the cooperatives are strengthened. And we're really excited about what we've achieved, actually. It might not be money, yes, I told you in the beginning, the money may not be there, but we have achieved something. Something good.
That's good. Quite a journey. You know, as you were talking about having purposeful work, so it's not just about the money. And the time when you went with your dad and you saw what was happening with the factory workers. I saw you even tearing up. I don't know if that you were just remembering what happened.
Because this is what made me feel like I want to do this work, you know. Because you see, I could have closed those machines and I could have done the redundancy and could have rented out the go-downs. It's 450,000 square foot, and I'd be a richer woman today, driving a bigger car than I am, and all the rest of it. But I couldn't do it. Because of that day.
So now tell us then, how do you balance? Okay, it's not primarily about money, but you need the money to pay your workers, to do a lot of things. So when you talk about, there's a lot of talk around pending bills. So you said you were told about how to get these tenders and all that. So how do you balance between keeping the factory running, getting your workers, there are workers who have been working for decades, I saw. How do you balance that with the pending bills, the arrears that keep on accumulating?
So before I go to that question, you know, the question, another thing, when my father passed away in 2011, there were so many workers that were hitting the age of 60. So I was paying a retirement benefit year on year, year on year. And when I would start looking at that benefit, it would come on my table and I'd see how many years this worker had worked. And I'd see he's worked his whole life at this one factory, perhaps in this one position also. And that's when I realized how important it is not to turn a blind eye. To us, it might be the money, yes. But to them, it's their whole life, you know. So how can you just dismiss it? I found it very hard to do that. And that is the reason why I couldn't turn a blind eye, you know. Okay, the government tenders. So I'll tell you, the first day I went to NYS, the same man is still sitting there in the procurement office. And I had done samples, like this whole table was full of samples of different products that they used, you know. And I got one order to make those samples, to put them through machines, different yarn counts, different fabric, different colors, we worked night and day to get those samples out, and I got one order. I was fuming when the man gave me the order, 17,500 meters. I looked at that order and I said, is this what you think I'm worth? Is this what you think I'm worth? Keep it! I don't want it! Keep it! And then I walked out of that office and I had Arthur and Mary with me, who work with me. They know me since I'm a child. Again, so many years with Thika Cloth Mills. And they both said, Madam Tejal, that's not the way to behave. I was young also, you know. Maybe Gen Z blood also, maybe, you know. But I said no. They told me no, go back. Say sorry to that man. That was not good behavior. So I said to them, looked at them both. I said, but, no but, Madam Tejal, no but. So I went back in, and this time the anger became tears, literally, you know, because you know how anger can become tears, you know, it's emotions, right? So I went in there and I said, how are you? actually, I'll take that order if you still give it to me. I'm really sorry about the way I behaved, you know. I shouldn't have talked that way, you know. Will you still give it to me? So I said, take it. Go do it. I told him, okay, I'll go and do it, you know. So I went and I did it. And we supplied NYS. It was for administration police, actually. And then I met NYS said, rejected. I said, oh my God, what am I going to do? It's printed with their print. I even bought a machine from India. When President Uhuru said on Madaraka Day, we want to buy Kenya, build Kenya, but we need quality. I'd met the commander in 2008, and he had said, Thika Cloth Mills, fail, fail, fail. Rivertex, fail, fail, fail. Bedi, fail, fail. Because they wanted a quality which was very superior. You know, KDF, you know, you can understand. So I had bought a machine worth almost 100 million to make sure I was able to do the VAT printing, which is the highest quality printing you can do in the world, to make sure that they get the best of the best. So this camouflage material which I had made for AP was made from that machine. And then they told me rejected. So I not only just taken a very small order, I'd also invested in a huge machine to having the faith that they're all going to come, you know, and they did, they've all come. But I don't know where that faith came from, but it was there, that they're all going to come. And we went and to NYS, they told me, does the color come out? I said, no. I watched it in front of them, no. But the color is, look, this color is different to our sample. I said, yeah, but all your jackets are different, and this material is coming from China. None of them look the same. Mine is actually very near, and this has passed 600 people's hands. Are you going to send it back? Did you make it here? Yes, sir, I did. Are you sure? Yes, sir, I did. Can we see? I said, yes, sir, you can. So we went to the factory, and when, after going around that factory, took my hand like this. And he said, I'm never going to leave you. There were like 7 or 10 of them, or I don't know how many. We're never going to leave you. I said, really? They said, yeah. No material rejected, passed. And I said, thank God, thank God. And then after that, one by one, they started to come. And the orders started to come. They used the material. They were happy with the material. They were happy with the fading, the washing fasteners, the light fasteners, everything. So they started saying, okay, good. Kebs also, the results were all good with this new machine. So we had succeeded. Delivery of the best quality, I would say better than even China. Because of the experience I have with the workers there, some of them have many, many years of experience. So I think we did it. We did it well, you know. Yeah. So we delivered, you know, and then the orders started to come.
And then now payment.
Now coming to the payment. I had complained to Chambers of Commerce, to KAM, I complained to the people in charge of the payment at the different institutions. Actually, Chambers of Commerce took me for a meeting where President Ruto talked about the pending bills and how they were going to sort them out. And not just to me, but there were many suppliers in that forum. They gave us a bit of confidence on that front. Then we went to the Ministry of Industry calling quarterly meetings for all the manufacturers to come, the textile manufacturers to come, and to see how the Buy Kenya, Build Kenya was moving. Are we getting the orders locally, or are they still importing from abroad? What exactly is going on? How are the farmers doing on the ground? Is it all working? You know, so we would all attend, and we told them it's working. We're getting the orders. They're happy with the quality, everything, but the payments are very delayed. So they wrote some reports, maybe, I'm not sure what they did on their side, but they must have done some reports saying how important it is. Because when you pay the farmer, we pay him upfront for that cotton. Then we still have to spin it, weave it, first gin it, then spin it, weave it, process it. That can take up to 6 weeks. Then from there we supply to the institution. If they give you an order for, let's say, 45,000 meters, I have to finish the whole order before I give them an invoice. After giving them that invoice, I still have to wait another however many months it takes for that bill to be paid. So that cycle is too difficult, and that's, I think, the reason why Rivertex could not manage it also. Not only Thika Cloth Mills, but even them struggling the same cycle. But I think all what I'm telling you, I told them. I told all of them, whether it was the Ministry of Industry, whether it was the Ministry of Agriculture, or whether it was the PS of Cooperatives, or whether it was the KDF commander. We explained, you know, this is what we are going through. And they've come to the factories, they've seen, and I think they heard our cry, and they have also released our payments. Yeah.
Now, as we wrap up this conversation, I'd like you to talk about being a woman within the manufacturing sector and textile specifically. What has your experience been, and how have you been able to scale the heights and really overcome the challenges that come with being in this sector?
Being a woman in this sector is good at the end of the value chain, you know, where the garmenting is happening. And many of our customers are women who have got small tailoring units, and they come in the morning, they buy 1 roll, 2 rolls, 3 rolls, they go, they stitch, and they make the uniform for a school or for a corporate, or some of them are bigger, some of them are smaller, some of them have really grown, some of them have stayed the same. Some women can even stitch from home when the kids are growing up, you know, so some of them have been doing a little bit of that, you know, and yeah, so I think it has been good for me as Thika Cloth Mills. We did a program with USAID, empowering the women in our factory. It used to be an all-male factory. When my father passed away, it was an all-male factory. And we were really scared to bring the women in because, first of all, the culture inside. Secondly, we had night shift. It's a very big factory, very big machines. So, you know, somebody could, you know, you can't see everything all the time. It's not like one room like this, you know. So...
what do you mean by the culture? You are scared to bring the women because of the culture within.
See, so for example, sexual harassment could have gone on, you know. How do you make sure that it's a safe environment for the woman, you know, especially in an all-male environment, you know. And especially in this class where you're not going, it's not white collar job, you know, it's a worker caliber job, you know. So anyway, it was good. The US, luckily we have shop stewards on the ground, we have a union, so the voices of the workers can be heard. So we introduced the women first by either they have a brother or an uncle or a father in the factory. So they have a certain amount of voice there in case there is any misbehavior in any way whatsoever, you know. That's how we introduced the women. Initially, we had gone for just application, and we were not too sure this is the right way. We got one case of sexual harassment, and we just put a stop to recruiting the women for a while. Then we decided, okay, let's go this way. You know, and now we have quite a number of women there. They are very confident. USAID, when they came, there was a wonderful woman called Winnie, and she spoke. She spoke saying that women and men are not the same. Women menstruate, men do not. Women's emotions go up and down, men's go like this. Because ours go like this, we add a different kind of value to what we bring on the table. And it stabilizes. Women care. Women say, what's going to happen to that man if I close this factory? Or what's going to happen to that woman if I close this factory? A man will think of how much money he's losing in the rental income he could be getting, you know. So men and women are made quite differently. And if you want democracy, you need women. Women fight for democracy because women want to see beyond just a dominant man, you know. I'm sorry, I think I should rephrase that a bit, but anyway, it's come out the way it's come out. But so I think it's been a great journey. I think it's important to empower both women and men, because in the areas at which we are, where they've only been up to Form 4, for example, some might not even have made it to Form 4. Some may be an orphan, you know. Some may be having a disability, you know. So it's not only about women. It's about empowering all Kenyans. It's about women and men taking the opportunity It's not only for the women to take the opportunity or not only for the man. Both should be taking the opportunity. Women have a lot more struggles. They have children to take care of. They have families to take care of. This should be done jointly by both women and men. But traditionally, realistically, it's being done more by the women. No matter how empowered you are, you can never take that responsibility away from a woman. It doesn't go away, you know. And the same for the men. I hope they're going to also be the same like us. They're going to take as much responsibility in the homes, doing things together, accepting women at the same level as they are. And I think it's happening, you know. The union meeting we have, there's one shop steward who's a woman, and she's told to serve the tea. And I said, no, she's not going to serve the tea. And the branch secretary said, Madam Tejal, you're going to create a lot of problems in our homes, you know. So I said, don't talk like that, you know. He said, but you don't understand our culture. And I said, I may not understand it, but I can be part of the change to it, you know. And sometimes culture needs to be broken also. People say culture is the most amazing thing, you know, having good culture, being patriotic is, you know, when we are so patriotic. People who are patriotic also have very deep culture, you know. But sometimes you need to change culture. And change is okay. And it's good to be proactive for change, you know. Buy Kenya, Build Kenya is something we're fighting for. Empowering women is very, very critical. You know, empowering youth, empowering people with disabilities, all that is important. You know?
Yeah, yes. And I like the way you talked about sometimes women feel like they need to be like the man, but I've heard in so many of these interviews, like, we have very different ways of how we operate. And
yeah, I would not want to be a man.
Yeah, basically. So as we wrap up this conversation, in under 1 minute, I'd like you to look at this camera and just speak to that woman who is in business, whatever business it is, whether it's in textile or something else. What is that one piece of advice that you would give her on how to remain resilient? I mean, this factory has been there for decades, from 1958. So how do you remain resilient as a woman in business?
For me, I think it's following the light. It's following the right path, doing the right thing, fighting for what is good, being positive throughout, no matter how many stones are thrown, no matter what. At the end of the day, is what you're doing good? If it is, tick it and go for it.
You've heard it from Tejal Dodhia. Follow the light and you'll be able to succeed in whatever business you are doing. There may be challenges, but just keep on moving. This has been She Means Business. I have been your host, Claire Munde. Until next time, have a good one.